Hello and welcome to another episode of From the Ground Up. I am your host Sensei. Thank you all for tuning in. As you all know, the NBA is officially back, and I'm so excited and ready to dive in and give you my analysis. Now, also as well, there was two games tonight. There was the Jazz versus the Pelicans, as well as the Clippers versus the Lakers. I was not able to watch the Jazz versus the Pelicans game, but I did catch the Clippers versus the Lakers game, which, let's be honest, that's the game that we all cared about and all were waiting to see. The score was 103-101. The Lakers edged the Clippers by 2 points. Now, this game was a great game. There was a lot of lead changes, a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of ties. The Lakers, to me, the Lakers came out really strong in the first half. They moved the ball really well. They were good on their defensive rotations. The Clippers kind of struggled. I feel like the Lakers caught the Clippers off guard. The Clippers had a lot of the same struggles that they had been having in their pregame scrimmages, as far as being really slow on rotations, not getting to their man in time, not defending really well. But once the game kind of settled in, they started to pick up the pace a little bit more. They got Paul George going, which is obviously one of their main scorers. Kawhi was on from pretty much the beginning to the end. He made a lot of incredible tough shots. And Patrick Beverley came off the bench for the Clippers as well and gave them good minutes, as well as gave them good production. I believe he had 12 points throughout the game, so that was very solid for them. I do believe it may have made a difference for the Clippers, at least if they had Lou Williams and Montrez. I forgot his last name. But if they had Montrez and Lou, I think it would have been a little bit tougher for the Lakers. But in the end, I do think that the Lakers can take a lot of positive away from the game and a lot of negative as well. Like I said, when they first came out in the first half, they were aggressive. They moved the ball really well. They set screens. They communicated on defense. They were very fast to their rotations. Once the game kind of weighed on a little bit and the Clippers started to pick up the pace, I feel like they got lax a little bit because for the majority, the Lakers had the lead in the game. And so they kind of just put it on cruise control instead of just continuing to be aggressive. Especially for LeBron. LeBron wasn't as aggressive as I would have liked him to be. He only had 16, I think I have the stat here. He only had 16 points. He shot 2 for 7 from 3, but he did have 11 rebounds, which is obviously crucial. But I do feel like he could have been a lot more aggressive in this game and kind of picked his spots a little bit better. I feel like there was a lot of shots that he took that were unnecessary, that didn't really need. It wasn't in the flow of the offense. But I feel like also he was just trying to get himself going, being that NBA competition is back, and he's trying to get back into the swing of things. So I understand. On the Lakers side, for the negatives, I feel like they took a lot of threes that they didn't need to do. I feel like they came down and just shot threes instead of moving the ball, which was successful for them in the first half. And had they kept doing that, I think that they would have won by a lot more than 2 points, because once they started to move the ball again when they were down, they started to come back into the game and make it competitive again. So I would say for them is against the Clippers, you have to move the ball. You have to be efficient in moving the ball, and you can't just jack up shots because they love to run and gun. They have two superstars on their team that can get out and stretch the floor, that can make transition threes, that can make in the flow of the game threes, that can drive to the basket, that can make a lot of cuts. So I mean, you can't really take back shots against the Clippers, and I feel like a lot of the Lakers' shots that they took tonight weren't the greatest shots. Sorry, I had to put that back up. So yes, I feel like they weren't the greatest shots, and I feel like they could have gotten better looks at the basket. They should have drove more than shooting a lot of threes. And then also towards the second half, or in the beginning of before the second half, and then in the second half, the beginning of the second half, they were kind of lazy on defense and very slow to their rotations. The Clippers cut a lot, and that's one thing that they do really well is they make a lot of adjustments, and they make a lot of cuts, especially to the basket, because again, they have two slashers who can slip behind a screen and they're at the basket and they can dunk, they can kick it out to an open shooter, and that can make a difference as well. So I think for the Lakers, it's good that they won, but they should have won by a lot more. Had they kept with that same energy and same intensity that they had in the first half, then they would have won by a lot more. So that's my analysis as far as like the game in itself. I kind of wrote down here LeBron versus Kawhi, what I thought about that matchup. LeBron didn't score a lot of points because I think he was more so keen on being efficient on defense, which in the latter part of LeBron's career, he's gotten a lot of flack about how he plays on defense, how he kind of pick and chooses when he wants to play defense. And in a lot of key moments against Kawhi, he made a lot of great defensive plays. He made a lot of stops, and he made it difficult for Kawhi. And that's what you really have to do when you guard Kawhi. You have to make it difficult for him, because the only person that really can stop Kawhi is Kawhi. But if you can at least make it difficult for him and have to make him a playmaker, that's where he exposes himself. Because Kawhi is a good scorer, he's a good defender, but he's not a great playmaker. And if you force him to make decisions, it's usually not a good thing for the team that he's on. So LeBron did a lot of that, which was very, very great, especially towards the end of the game. LeBron made 2 of the game-saving plays. That's right, Mr. Not Clutch was clutch. He made a stop on Kawhi, and he also made a stop on Paul George and shot a horrible shot towards the end to win it, but he got his rebound and ended up putting it back to put him up 2. So that was great. Good job on that, LeBron. If he can continue to do that and apply that defensive pressure to Kawhi and make him make decisions, I like the Lakers' chances against the Clippers in the Western Conference Finals, because obviously they're going to meet in the Western Conference Finals. There's no other team that's going to beat either one of them. Except for Houston might have something to say about that, but we'll see what kind of James Harden we get as it pertains to that. Going forward, I think for both the Clippers and the Clippers have to find a consistent third guy. The thing that edges the Lakers for me is that they have a couple consistent third guys that they can get other point production from. If Paul George and Kawhi aren't on, and if Patrick Beverley doesn't luckily hit 3 or 4 3-pointers, they don't have a consistent third guy. And I know what you're saying, they have Lou Williams. I get all of that. But Lou Williams isn't consistent enough where you can rely on him. Like, he's good for what he does. He can score and he can make things happen. But that's not going to be consistent over a Game 7 series. So you have to, they have to find somebody that can carry that load when it's not so good, because there's going to be off nights for both of those guys. They're not going to have it every night. With the Lakers, they have a couple consistent third guys. They have a Kyle Kuzma that comes off the bench. They have Caldwell Pope, who's been playing really well. They have J.R. Smith. They have Dion Waiters, as well as JaVale McGee. I mean, there's a lot of production that they can get from either way. And the Clippers have a bunch of just kind of throw-around guys, and they're either at the ladder of their career, or, like I said, they're not consistent enough to where they can push the edge and make a difference. And that's what separates the Lakers and the Clippers, is that the Lakers have a lot of guys that can at least make a difference in the game. The Clippers do not. So it'll be interesting to see going forward exactly what happens with both teams. Like I said, I feel like if Houston meets the Clippers before the Clippers have to play the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals, I feel like they can make some noise and possibly overtake the Clippers, because the Rockets are a really good team. It's just there's so many what ifs with that team. Like, what if James Harden is this, or what if Russell is that? Because both of those guys, as we all know, can go either way. They can either be really good or really horrible. And if they're really horrible, then that diminishes their chances to win for the Rockets, because they're their 2 main guys. They're the ball handlers, they're the scorers, they're pretty much the everything. All the offense, everything runs through them. So they have to be, like, they can't take a night off, basically. So we'll see, though. It's interesting. I'm so juiced that the NBA is back. So ready for the rest of the season to see how it unfolds. The bubble thing is still kind of weird to me, as far as, like, the fans doing the zoom in, and, like, it's just like referees and coaches and players, and, like, there's no, like, real crowd noise. That's really strange, and it's probably going to be an adjustment for me as a fan, because I feel like, obviously, and I'm sure the players feel the same, that they feed off of that energy. So it's going to be, I don't know. It's just really really a strange thing. I will say one more thing about the Clippers and the Lakers, because I just thought about this. For the Lakers, they cannot let Patrick Beverley get confidence against them at all whatsoever. Like, he hit 4 threes, and thank God that the Lakers won, because had they not won, we wouldn't hear the end of it. So for the Lakers going forward, when they do meet up with them again, because I feel like, again, they're going to see them again, you cannot let that young man get confidence. Because the one thing he does once he gets confidence is he feels like he's Michael Jordan and Kobe had a baby and it was Patrick Beverley. Like I don't want that to be a thing. So like we have to figure out a way to stop that. Like he shouldn't be confident at all. Like we have to crush his hopes and dreams. Like it's like if you throw something at a spider and you don't kill it, and then it just comes back to hunt you. It's that. Like you gotta crush it. Like you can't play around with it, because like I said, he's from Chicago, he's from Illinois, I'm from Illinois. I know how guys like that get down. You gotta kill their confidence, because if the moment you give them a little inkling of light, a little inkling of hope, it's over. And that's the last thing that we need. Like I don't want to have to go through a summer, or I should say a fall, because summer's almost over. I don't want to have to go through a fall of Patrick Beverley being the reason why the Lakers aren't in the finals, or why they didn't win the finals. Like, I can't deal with that. So we gotta figure out something. I don't know if I need to text Bron or Frank Vogel or whoever, but we gotta cut that off. So that's pretty much gonna wrap up this episode, just because, like I said, it's only 2 games that were tonight, so I don't really have that much more to talk about. Other than, if you follow me on Instagram or follow me on Facebook, you know that I've been posting links about my shirts through the Bonfire website. You have till August 13th to purchase a shirt. Again, that is August 13th to purchase a shirt. I'm trying to sell at least 50 shirts. Right now, we're at 13, I believe. So I do have a ways to go, but there's plenty of time. Again, August 13th is the last day to purchase a shirt. Once August 13th is up, the shipping dates officially for the shirts will be August 21st. So that's everybody that's bought one so far. That's when you will get your shirt. Also, and as well, I do have face masks that will be coming out. I will be putting the link for those on Monday. And so make sure that you get a face mask, because we all need face masks. It's a pretty much country requirement at this point. So wherever you at, you need a face mask. So make sure you cop a face mask. And continue to support the show. If you haven't already, if I sent you a request, or if you just want to search it, From the Ground Up has a business page on Instagram and Facebook. So if you follow me on either one of those, you can find me on there, as well as YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, From the Ground Up, also in as well. All episodes will be posted there. So make sure that you tune in. I love y'all, appreciate y'all, and I'm out.